I seen some clips of this one on TikTok, and it looks like it gets interesting, and it does get heated. I seen some clips of it getting pretty heated, and that's not really a surprise to me because you have a guy trying to rationalize with a woman who sells herself for money. And the problem with women who do that type of stuff is they don't want to believe that what they do is bad, so they'll say and think and do whatever it takes to make what they do seem okay because nobody wants to believe that they're a bad person. So I always think that these conversations are super interesting, but let's just go ahead and get right into it.
Here's the thing that's crazy. Okay, I want you to consider this, okay? I'm sorry. I'm going to be a little less cynical for 5 seconds here, a little less sarcastic. There are 1.4 million OF creators in the United States right now. Between the ages of 21 and 40, there are, I want to say, 48 million women. Okay. There's 1.4 million. There are 500,000 working prostitutes in the United States right now. Let's say half those prostitutes are actually OF creators as well. So we're going to say there's something like 1.6 million girls that are somewhere in the sex industry. Porn, we'll just throw that in there, but that's going to be like not quite as much. So we're getting to the point where it's like something like 3 or 4% of women between the ages of 20 and 40 are on OF.
That's
and
crazy.
if they're attractive, that number goes up to like 5, 6, 7. You're telling me 1 in 17 women I see is in sex work? Do you think that this isn't going to have downstream ramifications?
Yeah.
You think that you wonder why the marriage rate?
And what's even crazier about that is if you think about the fact that every single one of those individual OnlyFans girls probably has 20 guys that support them all individually. And this is just something that's been going on. Like there was this girl named Lil Tay who got super famous on Instagram. And what she got famous for was essentially flexing her parents' money when she was a kid. She was a kid when she got famous. Next thing you know, she pops up. She's about to turn 18. And people have been anticipating for her to turn 18 for like the last 10 years. And as soon as she turned 18, she made $1 million in like 3 hours doing OnlyFans. And the only thing that sucks about thinking about all this is that a country is only as good as the people in the country because the country is made up of people. If the people in the country are shit, then the country is eventually going to become shit. And people who have an investment into the country and people who want to see the country do well, we have to take this under the guise that this doesn't affect anybody, of course. And I'm a firm believer that if we're going to allow this to happen, let's tax the shit out of it. Let's tax these girls at like 70%, and we can pay off the U.S. debt in like 7 months. Like if we have special taxes for selling things like marijuana, alcohol, I think it should be something similar for stuff like OnlyFans. If you're selling sex work, you should come with a heavier tax, and that's just going to offset the negative that you're causing towards the society that we have to live in. We could be debt-free in like 6 months, bro.
It's plummeting. This is crazy. And everything I said, I can back up with statistics, and I will get skewered for it. I will get canceled for it. I will get ratioed for it. I will be called insecure.
I am just glad all these women are, getting empowered.
For sure.
That's all I'm
Talk about the ratio of OnlyFans women versus actual working prostitutes. You said 1.4 million and
illegal.
500,000?
It's the same thing.
Illegally working.
It's the same thing.
Yeah.
I don't think it would be 50.
There isn't even
I
100,000
just
legal
feel like-
working girls.
I feel like OnlyFans is the definition of work smarter, not harder.
Not necessarily. Just because something is easier does not mean that it's smarter. Sometimes it just means that it's lazy. It's smart that because we're humans and we're social beings to choose family. It's smart to choose connection. As you get older, you realize it's smart to choose your reputation and your family's honor over making a couple of dollars. That's what the smart decision actually is. We are humans. Intelligence is choosing your humanity. It's choosing your family. It's choosing community. It's choosing to be noble. It's choosing to have dignity. Just because something is easy doesn't mean that it's smart. Sometimes it's just lazy.
My point is you cannot then expect there to be downstream ramifications.
Yeah.
There has to
True.
be.
Yeah.
If every man all of a sudden just went virtual and started playing video games for money, eventually the roads would break down. Eventually we wouldn't have infrastructure.
Yeah.
If somehow every guy could make 500 grand from playing video games, we'd end up in a situation like that.
Yeah, but that's kind of what's happening. Our whole economy in America is now just backed by like influencers, OnlyFans girls, and simps. And people will call this stuff progress, but when I look at some of these cities, I see regress. When you need poop maps so you don't step on human feces as you're walking through a city, in comparison to the 1960s, this doesn't look like progress to me. When you look at homelessness going up, this doesn't look like progress. People have to use GoFundMe as their healthcare plan. He's right. Our birth rate is currently at 1.6 as a nation. No society in human history has ever survived going below 1.9 children per family. We we are at 1.6 currently. Sure, since the 1970s when we pushed women into the workforce, GDP has rose in America since then by about 350%. But they don't tell you that the debt has also increased in America by 3,900%. So yeah, our economy is built on credit card debt, OnlyFans, and influencers, and people call this stuff progress. And by the way, a lot of young men did stop doing the hard jobs and we're kind of just coasting on old infrastructure. It is starting to crumble. It just takes time.
There's a lot of women right now, no offense to you guys because I love you guys, who are on OF, who could have been surgical nurses, who could have been doctors, who could have been real estate agents, who could have been real estate developers, and they chose to take themselves out of the market. I'm not saying they're wrong. They're making more money. From their standpoint, 100% they should do what they're doing. What I'm saying is it has downstream ramifications for the entire country, for the world. It has ramifications for the birth rate. It has ramifications for the rate of marriage. It has ramifications for all of these things.
Brother, you're just screaming into the void. If these women don't even care about themselves, they're not going to care about the country. If they don't care about their own future family, they're not going to care about other American families. So he's spitting facts. He's just talking to the wrong people.
And people, and
Michael, you could have been a number of those things. You're a very smart person. You were in the military. You decided to come online and do these insane clips for attention. So what is the difference between
great question.
People like me and people like you? What's the difference?
I tell you what, here's the difference.
I wonder who is the OnlyFans girl. Ooh, just all point out the OnlyFans girl. I wonder who that is.
Moral equivalency. There's nothing wrong with what you're doing.
You're on your fucking soapbox for 2 minutes there. So what is it? What's the difference?
I'm not saying there's anything wrong with what you're doing. I'm not.
One person is doing prostitution, the other one isn't. And I know all the girls think that this is like a clapback or a snapback. And she is making a pretty good point, but one of them is literally selling their ass and the other one isn't.
I'm trying to judge you for doing what you're doing. What I am saying is the reason I do what I do is not for attention. It's because the bottom quarter of men are completely ignored and left behind, and they are taking their lives at 9 times the rate of the general population, and no one speaks for them. That's why I do what I do.
Yeah, okay. And it pays well. Like and subscribe.
But the bottom quarter of women are being ignored, and you just
no, they're not.
Hang on. You just said before that if they don't look a certain way, you're like, well, the metrics say and Dr. Bus, and if it's asymmetry, so if you don't have asymmetry, then what? That's just biology.
There's tons of studies that show women can be morbidly overweight and unattractive and go on to dating apps and get more matches than an NFL quarterback.
Yeah, that's true.
That's true. That's like it's like making up, yeah.
But neither are the women. The women don't want to get married to anyone, so it doesn't make any difference.
You say this, and yet you promote a culture of shallowness at the same time.
Well, how do I promote?
You are the problem, and yet you're claiming you're the antidote at the same time. Which is it? Like you come on here and you're like, well, if you're not making money, as a guy, like you're not gonna get. If you're a chick and you don't have a boob job, you're not gonna get.
I've never said if you don't have a boob job.
And then at the same time, you're bitching about that same mentality.
You will never find a clip of me saying either one of those.
Michael, that's a lot because
I've never said if you don't have a boob job. I've never said that. And I've never. And by the way, I am the number one person on the entire internet who says you can get a beautiful woman without money. No one says this more than me.
Since when?
This is boy, Bree. This is literally something in his
17 years I have been preaching this.
My God.
Bree, let me say this again because I want you to hear it. I'm the number one person on the entire internet teaching men to get women without money. Let me say it a third time.
That just counters her whole point.
Well, you always say you need a niche.
I have never said
you always
need
say, okay, so what do you need?
Wait. You need attraction triggers.
Mike, hold on.
Relevancy, competency, access to scarce resources, access to scarce networks, access to scarce locations, humor.
So,
charisma,
in other words, a niche. In other words, a niche is what you're describing.
But not money.
That's not what a niche is. That's multiple different things.
I will say this, and I know that this is a very unpopular take in the red pill community. I think that a man wasting his time and energy chasing pointless butt, and I'm saying you're not even looking for a wife, you're just looking for hookups. I think that is the same archetype of guy as the guy that sits in his mom's basement, eats Cheetos, and plays video games. One just decided to go to the gym and make enough money to buy a Lamborghini. I think it's the same kind of avoidance of responsibility. But I will say, in a world where women don't want family anymore and men who do these things are rewarded by sex, what else do you expect men to do? If these men try to do it the right way and go and get a family, their family can be separated just because a woman says that she's unhappy, and his kids, his livelihood, his house, and half of everything he's worked for can be stripped from him. So it's like being virtuous as a guy and being responsible and taking on the responsibility of family is like a punishment now. Regardless, though, I do think that what I said is true. The guy who just spends his time around pointless women who are promiscuous, and he's wasting his time and his money and his effort to chase random tail, not even women that you even find or deem virtuous enough to even be considered to be a wife, and you still chasing these types of women, it's the same pursuit as a guy sitting in his mom's basement just playing video games, except for one of them decided to go to the gym and buy a BMW.
Alina.
Michael, do you know how I was introduced to you? So I was working down the street in a strip club, and Scotty comes up to me. Scotty from Newport. He was in there. And I'm going off. I'm ranting to him because he's in the legal industry as well. And I said, I am here working, even though I went to school for paralegal studies, as a paralegal, because I make more money as a dancer. It's not that I don't want to. So it falls exactly
No, of course. I have a friend of mine who works at Sapphire right now. She has a PhD in psychology.
Yeah, I agree.
Again, there's this thing where I keep trying to explain the economic realities, and you guys think it's some moral equivalence.
Yeah, well, just because you go to school to do a job, and even if you get good grades in school when you're preparing to do a job, that's not the same as doing the job. Part of you actually being capable of being a surgeon or being in one of these high-paying jobs that he's saying that these girls could go into is having the tenacity to stick around when things get hard, and obviously they don't have that, so I don't think that they would be capable of doing the job. It's like Navy SEALs training. If somebody decided to leave training to go do something easier, then they were never capable of being a Navy SEAL, because part of being a Navy SEAL is having the tenacity to stick around and not choose to do the easy thing.
If I am an oncologist and I find out you have cancer, I'm not condoning the cancer. I'm just telling you have cancer. I'm not condoning or not condoning what women want to do with their bodies. I'm just telling you it has downstream ramifications on the birth rate in the entire world when this is what's happening.
I'm not disagreeing with you. What I'm saying is you are part of the reason why there are downstream ramifications, and for you to point the finger at everybody else as if you're not promoting that culture.
How am I doing that?
Because you value the same things that you're accusing other people of valuing and saying that it's wrong.
You be specific. We don't understand what you're saying.
I just told you.
I never said women have to do those jobs. I've never said men need money. I've never said either one of those things.
Okay, but I think that that's the entire. If you were to poll like most of the people who watch your content,
he literally posted something on his story yesterday where he said how to do this without making money.
But if you were to put 99%, my audience is 90% male. 99% of my audience would say yes, Michael. He is the #1 person for preaching get girls without money. I never talked about using money.
Okay, so without money, then what is it? What do you need?
One more time. You should write them down. Everyone else write them down. Relevancy, competency, access to scarce resources, access to scarce locations, access to scarce networkers, humor, charisma, pre-selection, and social proof. Those are how you get women.
Niches, though.
Why do you keep saying niches? Those are attraction triggers.
Okay, well, okay. Now you're like using like big words, but that's fine. I just feel like
I'm using big words, therefore I lose the argument. Got it. I understand.
Now you're using big words.
You can all those things I just mentioned. You can develop without being tall, good-looking, or rich.
But she could have been a lawyer though, or like a surgeon, or something else. Of course, he's using big words.
That's what they are. Those are the ones I can control to help men develop.
Can you develop money?
Huh?
Can you develop?
Of course you can, but that's not my job. My job is like I do help some of my guys get rich, but not in for the reason.
All right, so
of
if you're a
money.
fat woman, then what are the triggers that you get then?
You don't need
if you're a
anything.
fat woman.
Well,
being fat,
hold on, time out. No, I'll tell you what it is. If you're a fat woman, men are so desperate, you'll still get 600 matches on Tinder.
Yes, and that's what you'll find that women don't understand. They don't understand the level of loneliness that men can feel, in a sense where you could be a man doing all the right things and society would not care about you. If you're a fat woman doing all the wrong things, somebody will still care about you. As men, there's a level of loneliness that women will never be able to fathom because it's just something that they'll never have to deal with.
Bottom third of men who are completely ignored and being left behind, and that's why I do what I do. Anyway, let's go.
Plus, it pays well. Like and subscribe. This video is called Michael Gets Into a Heated Debate with OF Creator. I'll leave a link in the pinned comments and in the description down below to the full video. I'm just saying, if we're going to allow this stuff in society and I have to deal with my daughter seeing this stuff as she grows up, in order to offset this, I think that we need to tax these hoes. We need to put into place a hoe tax. Let me know in the comments below if this video is a W or L, and give me the HBO special. That's Help Brother Out special. Hit the like and the subscribe button for more content. Till next time.